Hi. A lot of discussions are happening with the comments made by our esteemed leader, Narayan Murthy, sir. So he was talking about working at least for 70 hours per week for the betterment of a country, India, in this case. So there were multiple thought processes. I have seen a lot of reactions coming out of social media as well as professional networks. I think that the point or the comment needs to be understood in a better context. It is not necessary to judge and react before understanding what basically the comment is about. Uh, in my personal opinion, there are both the sides of this comment. First is the background in which Narayan Murthy had commented about this, his background plus his observations, and then on the other hand, there's a new generation or the kind of a new workforce that may or may not agree with his suggestions about working for 70 hours per week. So let us understand some of the aspects of this. First and foremost, I think the and it was later explained that this comment was aimed at the workforce below 30 years. So, in my personal opinion, when N.R. Narayan Murthy or his Mr. Pai were in their youth, uh, they were basically India was at a different stage and they were desperately trying to establish themselves. I'm not saying this young generation of today is not trying to establish themselves, but then we have moved on as a country, and then the solid foundation which is built by people like N.R. Narayan Murthy and Mr. Pai is being utilized by this new generation to step up, and they may not agree with working for 70 hours per week or may agree depending on their circumstances, their agendas, their ambitions, their dreams, their passions. So it depends on who the listener is to this comment, and he can take the comment based on his understanding of the situation and how it is relevant to him or her. The second point is generation gap. Obviously, there are so many things have changed. As I said, technology has evolved, marketplace has evolved, India's position in the country has in the globe has evolved, and the people like N.R. Narayan have certainly made us stand on that solid foundation based on which Indians are considered as a brand across the globe. Obviously, the aspirations of the generation of N.R. Narayan Murthy and the aspirations of the current generation will be certainly different, and they may not or may agree to work based on the R parameters instead of results, as Mr. Ashnir Grover said. So, if the performance is to be graded based on number of hours put per week, he's saying instead of that, why not judge performance by results put in, by results after getting the work done. That also can be a point of view. Second is, I think the biggest pointer that has made huge lot of difference and a lot of opinions is after Corona, a lot of people have changed their perceptions about our life, and they have seen unpleasant situations in their families or neighbors and society, wherein people who are desperately behind or running behind money were lost in a second's notice or in a minute. And then the importance of living life and spending time with family, creating work-life balance, literally, have got more prominence in the current way of life because of the situation that we saw in the Corona pandemic. That also is playing on the back of my mind. Even the young generation which that has seen all this pandemic, they also think about running behind their dreams and ambitions instead of putting in 70 or 80 or 90 hours per week and earning money and then reaching nowhere. That also is an important point that needs to be considered. Then the next point is Mr. Narayan Murthy basically is talking about his background is basically Infosys, and in software industry billable hours or in even in judicial systems for advocates or lawyers, billable hours are very important. Maybe that is how industry sees at the resources. How many hours can I build from this resource A, resource B, resource C? So for the organization like IT or a lawyer firm or for even system integration, a billable resource, my objective will be Nilesh, can I bill him for 70 hours per week or 50 hours per week? And that obviously will hamper my profitability and bottom line. That also can be consideration considering the market conditions and pressures across the globe because of the rampantly changing economic and social aspects of European, American, Middle Eastern nations, and now Taiwan and China are also on different wavelength. So this also is playing in the back of their minds. Billable hours are very important for the profitability and for the purpose of responding to their shareholders. That also can be a valid idea behind the comment. I think the biggest point here is, as Mr. Today I read Narayan Murthy's wife Sudha Murthy's comment that Narayan Murthy used to work more than 70 hours per week in his youth, maybe 80 or 90 hours per week. So I was just thinking, I think the biggest difference between what Mr. Narayan Murthy is saying and what people like us are understanding is the passion. Mr. Narayan Murthy's passion was to build a company, work on software and create a brand for himself. First and foremost, my objective is, or my struggle is for the existence and proving myself. So he's obviously, when he was trying to build his empire in the form of Infosys with his colleagues and family, he was single-minded. He had a single-minded focus on achieving this objective, and that in that passionate frame of mind, he may have. So as long as we are able to manage work balance life and we are working on the passions, we can. If basically my point here is, if at all my work and passion are aligned, I may end up working for more than 70 hours per week unintentionally or even without knowing. So that is quite possible. So basically, when I started writing, throughout my entire education, I have never woken up 4 a.m. in the morning and studied. But while writing, I used to wake up at 4 a.m. and then start writing, and then the day used to go on as usual. So those kind of situations happen when you are passionate about something. I'm sure in Mr. Narayan Murthy's case also, his passion was single-minded focus on creating a software company that can stand to the global standards, and in that single-minded focus, he must have worked for 80-90 hours per week, which is quite possible even today. For the generation also, if work and passion can be aligned, I'm sure if work and passion is aligned, almost all of them will end up working for more than 70 or 80 hours per week. Because then if the passion is aligned, it is no more work, it is enjoyment. And you can never get tired of enjoyment. So let us look at this from other perspective. If Mr. Narayan Murthy was supposed to work in a manufacturing facility or in a pharmaceutical company, I am not sure whether he would have put in 80 or 90 hours per week, considering his focus and passion about software building and software development. So this same logic applies to us also. If my work and passion is aligned, I am sure I will end up clocking more than 80 hours per week, knowingly or unknowingly. That is quite possible. So these are the point of views I just thought of sharing with you. And the last and not the least, I think all of us are at different Mr. Maslow's hierarchy. I'm a big fan of Maslow's hierarchy. And he has specifically mentioned the stages at which people are in society. So these stages are physiological needs, which are basic needs, then the safety needs, security, then love and belonging, then esteem and self-actualization. Now, unfortunately, when Mr. Narayan Murthy says that 70 hours per week is to be invested in work, different people will consider this from a different perspective. If it is about physiological need, I do not have any other option but to work more than 70 hours per week, because if I don't, I may not get a food to eat. The next phase, once my physiological needs are met, then I'm thinking about security. In that case also, I may end up working more than 70-80 hours per week. Then obviously there is love and belonging, which is very personal. These things will push us for the sake of parents, for the sake of children, for the sake of myself, for the sake of family's name. I may end up working more than 70-80 hours per week. It's quite possible. Then obviously esteem and self-actualization. I think Mr. Narayan Murthy is actually working at self-actualization stage, wherein he is no longer bothered about whether he had put in 70, 80 or 90 hours per week, as long as he was interested and he was invested in what he was doing. Similarly, people who are reacting to all these, I think they are different physiological, different needs of their lives, and based on those needs, they will look at this comment in a different perspective. So I just thought of sharing this because a lot of comments are coming up about this positive and negative. But I think the comment is neither wrong nor correct, because it depends on my perception how it applies to me. Thank you very much.